guys, so we're doing a park today, and I'm gonna put a disclaimer on this that I don't know if this park is objectively better than the one that was at Willow Creek, but it is different. I just wanted to try my hand at a park. I've literally never bothered with the parks in The Sims 4. I've taken my Sims to them a couple of times, with, you know, to do skill building or just for an aspiration or whatever, but I don't give them a lot of thought, and so I thought it would be really fun. I had two different ideas, so we're starting, it's going to be kind of a mess for a minute, because at first, so I had two different ideas and I thought I could mesh them, but there just simply isn't enough space, and so there may be another park in the future, because the first idea that I was kind of going for is I wanted to build a park like I used to go to when I was a little one. I lived in the Pacific Northwest, and they had these big, these might be universal, but like, I remember them being like always near water, these big wooden playthings. There was lots of like bridges, and they were almost always kind of castle themed, and they usually had 3 or 4 slides, and they were just kind of sprawling big wood structures. You could run around and play tag in, usually on wood chips, which hurt really bad, you know. But I was kind of thinking, like, we don't really have anything like that for like toddlers and kids to go play in, and so at first that's kind of what I was thinking. And then I thought, well, wouldn't it be really sweet to have like a really romantic park, something where you could take really cute pictures when you're getting married, things like that. And then I was like, well, I can do both. And this park got abandoned for a while because I tried to do both, and then I got frustrated and was like, I give up. But I like how it turned out in the end. We do end up abandoning the toddler park thing, so or the kid park thing. So I am going to do, I think, a park where the main focus is like this really sprawling, expansive kids space. I was trying to do a bridge here. I gave up very quickly. I'm sure it can be done. Like, I am not saying that bridges cannot be done. I didn't care enough about it to continue. Like I said, the beginning of this video is a mess. But yeah, so that's why this video takes a little bit to get started, but I wanted to show you because I definitely, when I started the channel, even my younger brother was like, you need to show people that this isn't easy or else they're not going to want to watch your stuff. And I was like, that's very true. This is not super easy for me. I just do it because it's really fun. But yeah, this part goes through multiple changes. Honestly, it's the little, the word just went out of my head. You'll see it in a minute. The little, shoot. Anyways, there's a little building that gets built in the upper right-hand corner that changes it to the romantic part. Because up until here, I think it is, I was still trying to figure out, how to do the kids park. The other idea I had in my head was this idea of like a kind of woodland path going under an old bridge, and like maybe the bridge isn't used anymore, so I was going to use a debug item, but I was still trying to figure out how to do the kids stuff too, and it wasn't working. So that might be another thing I want to investigate too, like, because I know there's some really pretty debug bridges that obviously you can't use, like the Sims can't use, but if we just like made it so it was like, yeah, obviously these are decrepit, obviously we're not doing these, could go underneath, it could be really pretty. In my head it makes sense. But yeah, this is the I want to call it a pergola, but that's not right. What are these called? You'll know what it is. I wanted to build one of these. This park, I think it's, you just saw a cut. There was like a week between that part and this, and then you'll see a cut here in a minute. I think after I finish this part, well, I come back to it later on, but I think after I finish like the main structure, and there's another cut. And then this project sat for like a month in the save with the little exclamation point. It was like, it's not a park, you've done it wrong, it's not a park. And it isn't a complete park until the very end. I kept just ignoring the required features. But this is where it starts going more towards romantic, like a get married spot or a New Year vows spot, instead of like a little kids park. And so there is a little kid section because you have to have playground equipment. So there's like a little place. And then as I went on, I got kind of excited, like as it started to take shape. And it doesn't start to take shape right away. I don't think I really had like a concrete plan until I started working on the pond. And even then there's a little bit of like a, how do I deal with this? And then you can kind of see the ideas start to like form a little bit. Because like I said, I'd never done a park, so I didn't know how to fit everything in. I was very confused. But the idea started to form, and then I was like, as it went on a little bit, it gets kind of messier, and it gets really, really cute in my opinion, because the idea was like, there's a little caretaker, and so some of it is like really, really manicured, really put together, because he knows those are the parts people are going to use a lot, and some of it is like, there's little like wildflowers growing under the swings and stuff, because he takes care of it, and he wants like the kids to go have fun and play in a safe area, but he can't bring himself to cut down the wildflowers and stuff like that. Like there's the whole like, this build took forever. I devised a whole lot of life stories here. And then some of the pictures are kind of funky because I spent so much time building and it's all pretty and all of these flowers, and then I was so mad because I went in the game and I forgot it's midwinter, and I still haven't downloaded a mod to fix that. I need to. At this point, it's getting ridiculous. But I didn't download a mod to fix that. And so like I got in and I was like, I'm so excited to take all these pretty screenshots, and the flowers are all dead, which is super annoying. It's still very pretty. It gives off in the screenshots a little bit of a different vibe than it does in build mode. It's a little bit, I don't use the word creepy, but like creepy, but like in like a film noir kind of way, not like a serial killer kind of way. So, but yeah, I thought this would be really pretty for screenshots for like a wedding situation, and then there is a whole wedding setup that you'll see later on in the video, or this might be a good like proposal place. So, and a lot of the lighting was set up to be like very atmospheric. And here's the pond. This is when it started kind of getting, I was like, this is gonna be entirely just like a venue for photo shoots basically. Spent a lot of time on this pond. Spent less time on the fountain, but I like the way the fountain looks because I think the fountain, you'll see later, the fountain I think ends up looking very much kind of like it's growing things because there's a pond nearby, and I really wanted I wanted it to fit with the fact that there is, I think off to our right now there is a river, or like an in-game water feature of some kind, or I guess maybe farther off to our right, maybe more behind us at this point. But this is the Willow Creek base game. This is not a base game lot. It probably should have been, considering it's in a base game world, but it's not a base game lot. It could be with a couple of swaps though. Some of your foliage would go away. Like I think if you didn't have island living, a lot of the foliage would go away. But you could replace it with base game stuff pretty easily, I think. This build is entirely me just placing foliage. It kind of cracks me up. That's usually the part where I'm like, I can cut that out of a build. And then in a park, it is entirely just, I'm placing flowers the whole time. But I had to really think about them, if that helps. I had to like really consider, because there's a lot of places where there's a lot of repeating flowers. And so I had to be like, how do I make this not look like the exact same bush placed 4 gems? I think I did okay for the most part. There's a couple places where I'm like, there is no way to fix this. Ooh, sorry about the jerky camera movements there. Oh, we're starting on the actual, like this middle bit is wedding venue, and I'm very excited about it. I think it turned out pretty cute. And I put some high hedges up so that people could still use the walking path without disrupting the ceremony. The children's area, which will come last, theoretically absolutely could disrupt a wedding situation. But also on the same hand, like in real life, well, no, yeah, I've lived to send this, so I'm assuming it's at least an American thing. You can, like, reserve parts of the park. Like, we had, in pre-plague times, we had baby showers at parks and, like, retirement parties at parks and things like that where you can reserve a little bit, and then usually there's signs up that say, like, hey, this event is going on, please, don't let your kiddos run around. And obviously, like, you have to trust the people around you to respect that. But most of the time people do, and they'll keep their kids out of the way, and you can do whatever event you want there, because we've done like baby showers and gender reveals and all kinds of stuff at parks, because it's fun to be outside, especially where I live now. There's 4 very distinct seasons. When I lived just outside of Seattle's main season is rain, which I'm not complaining. I do enjoy the rain, but it was a nice change to have 4 distinct seasons. But so we do a lot outside in parks, which we did a decent amount when I lived in a suburb of Seattle, but not nearly as much as we do here. I tried to keep somewhat similar flowers around. Like, obviously I did different things around the pond and stuff. And I did little flowers growing up where, like, you would assume the lawn had been... Yeah, I did cut some of that out because there's a lot of just bush placing there. What was I saying? Oh, there's, like, little flowers where, like, a lawnmower wouldn't have hit them and stuff kind of thing. But I did try to stick to similar flowers so that there was kind of a theme going on, but there's a ton of different foliage in this build, and I don't know if there's a super great way to get around that. This arch is so pretty, by the way. I'm sure it's Parenthood. It's got like that Parenthood look. I don't know what pack this arch came from. And like I said, I never do wedding stuff. And I'm the worst player too with it too. Like, my Sims are always just like, they're dating and now they're married. Cool, now they need to move in together. That's all. Like, that's the whole thing. I never bother with big fancy weddings. I used to, like, high school Amanda was super into planning that stuff. But it always just frustrated me because like no one behaves at a wedding. And my favorite lanterns make a comeback. I want those in real life. I love them. I had pineapple lanterns. Like, they kind of looked like that, but they were shaped like pineapples, but they had little candles in them for a long time. Then a windstorm took them out, but I love little, like, candle votive holder doohickeys like those. I really wanted to do fold-up chairs, but the fold-up chairs are really, what's what I'm looking for? Kind of beat up. I think they're city living. I'm not sure where they came from. They're pretty beat up though. When you really look at them, and I was like, that's not the vibe I want. Like, you would bring nice chairs. And so I was like, well, I'll just do park benches and it'll be a permanent feature. And then briefly, I don't know if I ever acted on that thought. Maybe not. I was gonna say, I briefly thought about doing like a Unity candle, but that's not a thing in The Sims. And so I was like, well, there's like a select amount of people that's gonna matter to. They can add that instead of me like forcing that. And then I wanted to do petals, but the petals are kind of cheesy, so I opted to not. I'm trying to figure out how to decorate the chairs a little bit more, but I think they're okay. I think just getting married in a park is probably enough. And then I went kind of light with the foliage on the sides because I didn't want to detract from our beautiful bride. I'm assuming she would want to be the thing on the center of the day. And then of course my favorite bush, because I am nothing if not predictable. Trying to change trees around. At one point I tried to stick the tree with all the lanterns in it. I can't remember if I did. No, I don't think I did because it ended up, like, by the time I remembered it existed, honestly, the shape of it was wrong for what I had already built, so I couldn't just slot it in. And I was like, there's really not a great way to do that. I kind of liked this. I don't end up going with this because, first of all, there's no matching post on this one, and I wasn't a big fan of any of the other ones for this application, and they weren't long enough unless they were sized up, and then they were too huge. But I did come up with something kind of clever here. Well, I say that's a little self-congratulatory. I think it's kind of clever. See this tree. Okay, we're jumping audio here while we, do the fountain, because the fountain is not that interesting. It's a pretty standard fountain. I had to leave and come back because there was a baby deer in my yard. And I know what you're thinking. Well, Amanda, you live on a farm. Of course there's a baby deer in your yard. No. This baby has been coming back. I think this baby has decided it lives here. And I'm a little concerned because there's a ton of deer live around my house. But, this little baby does not seem to be attached to any specific deer. Like, we can't figure out who his mama is. And that kind of worries me. And more worrisome is one of my mares is, little keen. She's a little keen about being friendly with wildlife, and I'm like, she adopted this baby. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But anyways, there's a baby deer outside my window, and I was very excited to go see it. So I went running away from the mic. I went running away from the video. So hopefully the audio syncs up. You know what? If it doesn't, there was a baby deer, so it's fine. You know what? I have a valid excuse. There was a baby deer. Anyways, this is the fountain. I was trying to use the fountain as a way to kind of break up the park a little bit. Because, I wanted a little bit of a seclusion, for the wedding. And it kind of does, it separates the kids' area out a little bit. It's not, it moves a little bit. It doesn't, it kind of, I don't know, it works. That was me just being fussy about it. Anyways, it works. I had a hard time getting this thing centered. because the grids show up on the like basement level, so I had to sit there and mess with that. And then I put these benches over here, and I made them look a little bit less used because realistically they probably will be a little bit. They're kind of off, but they were a place for the parents to sit because eventually off to our left will be the kids area. Yeah, see there I put like wildflowers and stuff because like unless you got the hand mower out, you wouldn't be able to get under there. And maybe our caretaker is getting a little bit up in age and he doesn't want to use the push mower anymore. He wants to use the rider. So there's some places. Oh, my chair is squeaking. There's some places. I'm sorry if you hear that. It's a very obnoxious noise. There's some places where he wouldn't be able to mow the lawn there. See, it's so pretty and pink and lush, and then in the screenshots, it's just not going to be. That's fine. Oh, and there's a little picnic area, for like the parents to come sit where their kids play, or like I don't know, just to come hang out. Honestly, it's to feed your Sims and rags to riches. And there's the chess area. I thought I had recorded building that, but apparently I did not. It did not take that long. I pretty much had an idea in my head. Here's the little kids section. Again, not a whole lot going on. A little bit of wildflowers around, again, where the push mower would be needed. Not a huge amount for the kids, although it was super funny because on my list of things to do, like with this voiceover, I had this voiceover and 2 other ones. I kind of stocked up because I have a little bit of time off work, so I thought I'm gonna get a bunch done. It's not working out exactly as I planned, but I'm getting a little bit done. But it was so funny because I was like, I recognize that kid because as soon as I was taking screenshots, and she's in one of them, and then immediately I went to go take screenshots of the family, and I was like, oh no, that's why I recognize the kid, because she was here and not at home, and I had to call her home, and she was all cranky about it, and late for school, the little brat. Like, you leave them on high, autonomy, or doesn't, you leave them where they'll do their own thing, and like, she just decided she wasn't gonna go to school, she was gonna go to the park instead, and I was like, you little dork. It's not how it's supposed to be. And then I was trying really hard to hide the bathrooms here because this was my bathroom solution. This is a cats and dogs bathroom, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I also thought about putting a food stall in. I don't think I showed it. I decided against it because the food stalls are all like very stylized and none of them are stylized like cute romantic park. But these bathrooms do work as much as I've put junk all over them. They do work. So... And yeah, I was adding some more hibiscus bushes because I think they're very pretty. And I wanted more than one because I put it on at the park and then didn't use it anywhere else at first. See, all my flowers are dying, but I still think it's very pretty. So I'm gonna leave you here with the screenshots and I'll catch up with you at the end. Alright guys, that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed my first attempt ever at a park. I think it turned out kind of cool, and I will talk to y'all soon.